These iPod Classics are very upgradable, very repairable, and if you watch this video, you'll also be able to learn how to fix these yourself, or at least the components of an iPod Classic. And if you do this, you can actually upgrade other iPod Classics. So in theory, you could actually make this a little side hustle for yourself. These things are very, very easy to fix because of the documentation that's been created by the community of tech folks who really just want to hold on to tech that works or is just good enough. We don't need to constantly upgrade if things are working currently. This video will step you through a sort of modular storage, battery, and screen. So if you have problems with your screen, you can follow some of this video. If you're having problems with the battery, you can follow some of this. And if you have problems with the storage, you can follow some of this. You will need a couple of things though. You will need a kit to open up things and pry things open. So many times if you order iPod Classic replacement parts, you can actually get prying tools with the thing that you're purchasing, the replacement part that you're purchasing, for free. But it's always good to have a couple extra handy because they do warp really easily. And I would say opening 2 iPods, 3 iPods maybe, might actually just completely kill the tool, so you'll have to get another one anyway. So it's very good to get multiple, including the one you get with your replacement part. I can't suggest enough an iFixit kit. This is like their ProTech series. I think it's like the one that is basically complete of what they sell. You won't need every single part, but if you're like me, you end up using this for other stuff, either around the house or even in my office. So it's good to have. The tools that you'll end up using the most are going to be, we have like a really spiky tweezer, and then we have a flat tweezer, which I use for the battery extensively. So with those tools, with your replacement parts, which actually don't even cost that much, you can go ahead and fix up an iPod Classic. Some people like to mod the colors. There's tons of faceplates, tons of backplates. There's a ton of stuff that you can do with your iPod Classic. So if you are willing to bring your old iPod Classic to life, or even potentially start a side business repairing iPod Classics, this is the video for you. So the tutorial is a little modular. There's basically one way to open the iPod, and then there's the 3 different repairs that you can do, and then you just close it. Not everything is stepped through, and if you need help, there is also the guides on iFixit, which is what I actually use to learn how to open iPods and fix them. So by all means, use those resources, use other resources, but if you're unfamiliar, this could get you into the right direction of how to do it for yourself. If you are using the iFlash for your iPod Classic and you're modding or you're otherwise upgrading your iPod Classic, certain microSD cards need to be formatted beforehand, FAT32. This one that I have, you can't see it. This one that I have is a 128 Samsung Pro Ultimate, and we have to flash it before we can use it because otherwise the iPod just won't see it. And then after you flashed it and put it in, you're able to restore on a computer with iTunes and you're all good to go. So my microSD card is called Untitled. I'm gonna turn that into iPod so I know which one it is. But what we're gonna do is we're going to erase and we're going to make it fat. All right, now we are done, and you can just go ahead and put this into your iFlash. This is the ProTech toolkit from iFixit. It's super useful, and I highly recommend you get some. Here's some pliers you're going to be using, and then we're just going to go ahead and get into opening the iPod. So this is how you open the iPod for anything that you're going to be doing. Usually replacement parts will come with a pry tool, and if you have an iPod Generation 7, make sure you're careful when you're going into the sides. Typically it's pretty easy, but with Gen 7 you can actually warp the outside of the frame, so do some research into that before you get into your Gen 7 if you have one. From here, you're going to be removing the battery connector, and I use the flathead pliers to just pull the tab up. Make sure you don't pull on it too hard, you will break it. And then we're going to move on to storage. Storage is pretty easy. Once you've gotten the battery unplugged, you can actually just go ahead and take the hard drive and pull the black tab towards the iPod, and it'll actually release a cable, a flex cable that is used to connect the motherboard to a hard drive. And then we are going to replace it with the iFlash with the SD card that we flashed earlier. You're going to pop the tab, and then you're going to insert the flex cable from the motherboard onto the iFlash. Try to be pretty tough about it because it can be a little hard to get into, but after you've gotten it in, you can put the tab back down and you're all good to go. You're done with storage. Just put everything back together. So the last step of the iPod storage repair mod is to flash the iPod OS onto here using either a Windows computer or a Mac. You just have to download iTunes, and then if you haven't downloaded it already, when you plug in your iPod for the first time, it will ask you to download the software needed in order to do this. So you should see something like this now, and you can just go ahead and hit restore iPod. And as you can see, also we have the 128 gigabytes that's on the card. Restore. Oh boy. My 60 gigabyte iPod has 100 and basically 20 gigabytes of storage. Awesome. This is how you replace your battery for your iPod Classic. So right now we're unplugging the headphone and lock button from the motherboard so we can actually separate the case and easily get to the battery. What we're going to do now is use a heat gun to heat the back of the adhesive on the battery so we can actually get it off without trying to tear the battery or the lock button. As you can see that the cables are really close to each other, and if you break off the wrong one, you will have to replace your lock button and your headphone jack, which really sucks. So don't do that. I did that. Don't do that. So now that we got that off, we can go ahead and get our new battery, take the adhesive off the back of the battery and reposition it in the same place, and then we can plug it into the motherboard to just make sure that it works correctly. So here I am plugging in the battery into the motherboard. What you want to do is pry the black tab of the battery connector up, put the battery in, and then lock it down. It's not fully foolproof, but it can be pretty straightforward, but you just need to be careful or else you will break the connector and have to fix it, which I had to do as well. And as you can see, the battery works because the screen is lit up. But now we have to fix the screen. So with the screen, what you have to do is basically unplug everything from the motherboard, including the screen itself, and then unscrew the metal frame from your iPod all around. The case comes off like so, and you want to be careful not to misplace the select button and the click wheel, because if you do something, you might not be able to use your iPod. But then you can take the screen out of its frame, the broken and non-working one, you can take it out and then replace it with a new one. You want to get it into the grooves on the metal case. You'll be able to see where they are. So you sort of wrap the screen around from the front, and then you want to make sure that that cable is sticking out because you want to connect that back into the motherboard. And then what I recommend you do is to connect the battery back into the board just to make sure that the screen is working. And if you get this Apple symbol or even the hey bad symbol, you are finished. So that's how you repair your iPod Classic. You can either restore the battery, restore the storage, or you can restore the screen, and in most cases that's going to fix anything that's going on with your iPod Classic. You also can load a firmware alongside the iPod OS called Rockbox, and I actually do have a video about installing that already. If you want to play different audio codecs, if you want to theme your iPod Classic, if you want to play games on your, or more games on your iPod OS, you can go ahead and do that by modding with Rockbox OS. It's super simple to install. Just make sure that you are doing everything that it asks you. Watch videos, look at your resources, and you should be good to go. All in all, iPod Classics are actually super repairable, and most, if not all, the iPods that I purchase are broken when I get them, and by just using a battery, I can diagnose and just make sure that, hey, this is actually fully repairable. Everything that I've gotten so far has been repairable. I've gotten like 4 or 5 iPod Classics in addition to the one that I already had, and it is super easy to just get in there, repair what you got to repair, and then now you have an MP3 player that will last more than like a day. So it's very nice. And if you want to make some money on the side, you can mod these for folks. But yeah, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for watching.